Welcome back, future Grandmasters. This is Hans Niemann back with day 34 of the Journey towards Champion. Yesterday we saw me play against Nihal Sarin. Today we played a match against Alireza Firouzja, one of the best chess players, one of the blitz players in the world. Now we're going to be analyzing some of my best games and looking at some highlights from our match. I think there was a bit of a disadvantage because I was streaming and he wasn't. But this was a nice game. So it was a Sir Nimzo Indian. He went for 92, I got rook e8, a8, bishop f8, e4. Here the main line is d5, and it's quite theoretical, but I decided to go d6. Maybe c5, maybe e5. He goes bishop g5, pinning. I go h6, attacking the bishop. Bishop goes back, knight bd7. Next, I'm going to go c5. He has to develop his pieces. I'm already castled. He goes f4, which is quite aggressive, trying to play e5, but now I go e5. And again, the king is still in the center, so you have to be very careful. He trades, move to d5. Now I go to c6. Maybe the queen's going to come to b6. Again, the king needs to castle. It's not really clear. If you want to develop a knight g3, I can go g5 and trap the bishop. So knight to c1 is also not really great. Now I go queen b6. I'm attacking the pawn. I've got a lot of initiative. All my pieces are sort of ready to be developed, and the king is still stuck in the center. So it's very important to castle your king. Oops, sorry. I just spoiled the game. You can cut that out. Queen b6, he goes bishop 2, and here I actually had a completely just slip. I thought that I thought knight f4, my queen's trapped. Right, just to take the free rook, so this would just be game over if I took this pawn. But I went bishop c5, which is also quite good. Bishop d2, takes, knight c5, attacking this pawn. He goes here, and now I go bishop g4. The point after this was to play takes, bishop e2. Now I realize that I have blundered. First of all, knight takes e2. So this shows how tired I was yesterday. I have queen d4, but I played a blitz match against Nihal in the morning. Then I played a match against Firouzja, then Big Fish. It was way too tiring. Anyways, he goes b4, blundering, takes queen d4. Now I'm attacking the c4 pawn, the c3 knight. He goes king d2, I take the pawn, he goes here. And here I could have obviously just played takes and been winning. But I really like the geometry of queen takes c3. Because of I sacrificed the queen. If that king takes, check fork here, check fork. So he goes this way. He gets this pawn, but I start pushing my pawn. d3, d2. I win the exchange. Now I just bring the rook in. He could take, which I would take here. I'll take the g4 pawn, then I'll take the g2 pawn. Then this pawn is going to be running all the way down the board. This was also a very interesting game. Since when Alireza posted on YouTube, he only posted his victories. I'm only going to analyze my victories. So he played this sort of tame system with e3. Go for early fianchetto. Go a6, so he can go bishop d6. There's no knight b5. He goes queen c2, allowing. Usually you want to include this first, but after queen c2, I take and go c5. Takes, knight takes, castles, rook c8. I thought why not include rook c8, because the queen is on c2. Castles, bishop here, queen e7, a4, knight g4, knight e5. I wanted to. Because here and here I made a very basic mistake. I should just go queen g4. The point being that after here I have now a 3 check. Takes. And I assume if rook e1, I just have queen e5. You can't take because of mate. If the pawn goes to g3, you can go knight e4. Again, this rook is paying off, the queen is pinned. Next, I'll take on f2 or take on g3, and have a checkmating attack. But unfortunately, I went queen h4 first for no apparent reason. And now queen f4, bishop f3. And now I played a bit of a funny motif, bishop f3. I had seen this sort of idea before in some other game. I wanted to play it, but in hindsight, I suppose b4 is quite strong. But after rook d2, now I play bishop b8, sort of bringing my bishop out of harm's way. Now he goes, again, you should play b4, I go king h1, bishop a8, queen back to d1. I guess I'll just turn the engine off. Apparently, I had knight c4 here, always taking advantage of the bishop not being able to take because of mate. And I suppose if this goes here, I have queen e5. And again, you can't really block with g3 because of the pin. I went back to g6, he went b4, queen e5, e5 takes. And here, I actually completely missed out. I can take this pawn because of the pin. Then I come back here, and then I take another pawn. And I'm just sort of taking every pawn I can, and I have quite a strong initiative here. Unfortunately, I took here, and I came to 3, played rook takes e5. I have 3 pawns, I have 2 bishops, you know, knight e2, queen back to f6, takes, rook d3, I go e5 to go e4. Knight e5 was a bit better, because you can't take because you check. And you might think, why can't I just pin? Now I have knight takes e3, and if you take back the queen, now I win your queen with check, takes. So a very tactical position. I go e4, knight f4, takes, knight takes h3. He should have taken, but this looks quite scary, but white is actually quite safe here. Instead he went knight h3, I gave a check, I took, I came to h5, went to g6. Now the knight is trapped with the bishop and queen on the diagonal, eventually attacking goes rook e2, I go queen h4, and I wanted to, have one of those nice little pre-move clips, like here, pre-move, check, checkmate. But unfortunately, he resigned. He didn't let me do that. So this was a very nice attacking game. I went on a nice streak of wins. This one was also very complex. So we were playing. I was playing a lot of 1c4 against him, jumping around in different openings. But obviously, the match I lost, I think 14-7. It was quite bad. Last match I won 13-10. But I was just a bit distracted while streaming. I had a bit of lag. So he went knight f6. Which I think is just bad after d6. Or what is the move? Yeah, d6 is actually quite strong here. And you actually lock in this bishop. And it's a bit dangerous. So I didn't know. I forgot about that. He goes bishop e4. Anyways, I go bishop d2, castles, a3, bishop d5, knight h3, d6, e3, but dropping a bishop, rook e8, e3. I was worried about some e3 or sacrifices. So I just went e3, bishop g4, queen b3, knight d7. Bishop b6, h3, he goes bishop f3. And we get this position after castles, knight to here. He brings the knight in. I go bishop e1, and now, okay, opposite side castles, this pawn on f3 is quite annoying, but maybe I can win it eventually. My king, might be open to attack, but I just put it aside, queen f6, g4, here, rook g1. Maybe I want to play g5, potentially. Takes in the rook g4. I also want to bring my bishop to c3 to prove it. This bishop is not that great. Maybe he'll reroute it. So you go to h6, I go rook d3. I was maybe angling for queen d1 to attack the pawn. But he goes bishop d8, I go rook d4. Finally, I can kick out the knight. The knight goes back, I take the pawn. I take advantage. He doesn't really want to take with this one, because now I sort of have the d5 square. Maybe I can go something like queen f5, or maybe queen d1. But I have this outpost for the knight, so it takes back with the pawn. I take the free pawn. He goes bishop b7. I go rook d7. He takes, and goes here. Now I have a really nice intermezzo move, queen f5. Double exclamation mark. Brilliant. Wow, look at me. Look at me. The point is that if you take, I have checkmate, and you sort of can't really defend this way because the rook is hanging. So you have to defend passively. Now I go rook h1, pinning this. Here in this position, I should have played queen d3. I think after here, now I go bishop c3, followed by queen d4. I went queen e5, which allows him to sort of, obviously this would be just game over, allowing him to sort of kick the queen out the diagonal and gain a tempo. But now still the queen is on d4. He blunders with queen takes f4. I'm not sure what he should have. He should have played queen here, king a2, and rook e4. This is the only move, and he sort of kicks out the queen and gets some initiative. But he blunders with takes. Now the bishop comes to e3. He could have taken. I thought, yeah, rook takes. And I suppose in this case I just take. I play bishop takes h7. I bring the bishop back, and I have just three passed pawns, which should win in a race. I definitely should win with 3 passed pawns in a race. Anyways, he went check f6, but now I just go queen takes f7. Next I'm going rook g7, check in here. There's just no way to stop it. His own pawns. Like for example, if he takes, I give a check and I just take this. Double exclamation point again. Brilliant move. Point is if he takes, I have a check and checkmate. If not, I'm just going to play rook g6, checkmate. So this was another nice game. There were a couple. We played many games. I also had an interesting match against Big Fish. But in the beginning, this was also kind of a funny moment that I'll finish it with. Um, so we played the Petrov, but I guess he wasn't. This is the normal pet, what you play with. This is sort of a perk now. And I'll just go to the end of the game. We play normal perk, maneuvering, d5, c5. I have a nice positional advantage. These pawns are doubled. Eventually, he sacrifices the pawn back, but I'm consolidating, and eventually I push him back, and everything is good. And the critical moment was in this position. I just made a very big positional blunder. I should obviously just go, I could go knight e4, but just bishop e2. And the knight's coming to e4 next. Obviously, he could take my pawn, but this doesn't matter. Like, my bishop, has scope. But after here, I went back. Now my bishop was just stuck forever because it doesn't have a diagonal to open up. So all my pieces just were sort of stuck. Anyways, the game gets messy in time pressure, moving around, everything. And I have 12 seconds, 17. I'm really screwed. And I'm even getting lower in time, lower in time, lower in time. 4 seconds to 12 seconds. I should be just dead in the water but here I give a check. And here he has to go, bishop g6, which apparently this would be a draw. Because now I take. If takes, I take. So you have to take, check. Oh, and now c3 apparently. So I have to take. Then he has c3. Because if take c2. And if here, he has check here, push. So after here, if I play bishop takes c4, the bishop will move. Or maybe I'll take this pawn. No, I'll play d6, and then obviously the bishops, I'll be able to draw. But he goes here, and with 3.3 seconds check, mate. So this was so clutch, so clutch. So it shows you, the fighting spirit and the under time pressure. It's really, really crucial in 3-0 because among top players, in 3+0, it's usually going to come down to time scrambles unless you blow them off the board. So this was a very nice game. So I hope you guys enjoyed this match. Obviously there'll be some cool clips included as well. I've been training. I played a lot of Blitz yesterday. Obviously great to play against top players. So make sure to let me know your comments in the section. I'll be doing some more Q&As. So if you have a question you want to ask about the journey, leave that in the comments. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Really appreciate the support, and I will see you guys tomorrow because the journey is only beginning.